Alright everyone, we start off today talking about something very, very funny here. It's a tale of lowered expectations by a Legacymedia outlet. Link in the description, archived of course. This one is definitely worth reading through, so go at it. Don't worry, you're not giving them any click revenue. It's an archive. Always use archive.today. MSNBC, which is, because Joy Reid works for them mainly, has terrible takes all day at this point on Twitter. You know the January 6th probe that involves looking into Trump and his complicity, how he stirred people up and attempted an insurrection, he won't accept the election results, etc., etc. Well, MSNBC lowering the expectations for this particular effort. Again, link in the description. Oh, we don't need a smoking gun. It's we know that Trump wanted to remain president. We know that he attempted an insurrection. We don't even need any evidence. It doesn't matter if this probe turns up nothing. Trust me, hint, hint, it won't, because there is nothing to turn up. The fact is this. Donald Trump, on January 6th, held a rally. A small group of the people, because there were tens of thousands of people at Trump's rally, broke off. Most people were just marching peaceably. Some people entered the Capitol. At this point, some people have been held without bail for 10 months, sometimes on not particularly major charges. I know the QAnon shaman got several years. Why? Obstructing Congress. Not vandalism, not assault, not sedition or anything like that. Obstructing a gathering of Congress. You've had some people let off with probation, fines, etc., small amounts of time in jail. Some people have not been charged at all. You have some people that have been held, in some cases, in solitary confinement for excessive periods, to the point where courts and the U.S. Marshals got involved, moved some of the prisoners to other places because it was so overcrowded because of the number of people that were waiting there, sometimes again without charge, that the conditions were when the U.S. Marshals tell you that your prison conditions are subpar and that it's not acceptable under the U.S. Penal Code, you know that you've got a problem. Now, before I get further into this is a massive own, a massive L taken by a Legacymedia outlet. That's why it's the main video of the day, of course. Keep in mind, down below, there will be a pinned comment if you're watching this video on YouTube with links to 5 other video hosting sites that I use. Keep in mind, I make a couple of exclusive videos every day. By the way, because of the enormous amount of literary work I want to do in double quick time, I'm actually increasing my pace further. I'm not going to be able to do the 5th video a day thing, generally speaking. That's now on hold until sometime probably next spring. So don't sue me, I'm still making fucking 4 videos a day. I'm doing my part. Are you doing yours? You know, those I did that stickers aren't going to prop themselves up on the fucking gas pumps. This is great though. MSNBC cell phones constantly. They cell phone on the Rittenhouse case. They are still defaming him, by the way, for which they risk large sums of money. I don't know what boardroom decided that their particular reporting in the wake of that verdict was still acceptable. I would have, if I was their lawyer, if I was an MSNBC lawyer, and their lawyers probably went to Cornell and shit like that, I'd say, maybe you want to shut up. Maybe you even want to retract and apologize because, unfortunately, you did defame Kyle Rittenhouse. It's going to be real easy for him to get at least a 6-figure settlement from you. He'll be sitting pretty. And he doesn't have to worry about work. I love how some people on the right are like, well, Rittenhouse has been tarred and feathered so much he'll never be able to work a day in his life. He doesn't have to. He'll be a millionaire. He'll be like Nick Sandmann. I don't even know why Sandmann decided to go to college. At that point, it's like, well, I can get up early in the morning and I can go listen to a bunch of boring-ass professors, or you know what? I can just get my little plot of land. I can become like total survivalist mode. And get my 5 acres. I can raise chickens. I can do cool shit like, you know, raise chickens and occasionally do Skype calls with YouTubers or something. MSNBC, though, that's hardly the only example of the weird reporting. Like, their strategy doesn't even make sense. This particular type of article, I would think that a reasonable person, like if you're in the editorial room, I'm an editor at MSNBC, which means I'm making a lot more than I'm making now doing my own thing. And then someone approaches me with an article like this, I'd say, legally that doesn't make sense, number 1. It sort of destroys your own argument, number 2. You are explicitly saying that the fact that the probe, which is a legal thing, it's a legal probe, exists, is basically irrelevant because you're not even going to give any importance to any evidence that's actually there. The problem is this, though, and this is why this story was made. There is no evidence. Trump never commanded people to enter the Capitol. Trump never committed insurrection. Trump never committed sedition. Trump never attempted to overturn the election or take over the country and become a dictator. This is the same hyperbolic junk that was reported on about Trump for 4 fucking years. Trump is responsible for this killing because he said something 20 years ago. Trump is responsible for a wave of anti-Asian hatred. By the way, it's all white supremacy, regardless of the demographics of the people participating in it. Donald Trump is responsible because the price of something rose very slightly. You'll notice that Biden is not held to the same standard. But Trump is responsible for the COVID death count. Now, around the time that Biden, his asterisk administration begins, all those kill counts, they start dropping off the Legacymedia's radar. CNN stops doing its update ticker with regards to coronavirus cases. By the way, I believe Biden just eclipsed Donald Trump as far as the number of dead from COVID in the United States, or with COVID, hush hush, wink wink, honk honk, during his presidency. Well, he hasn't even been president for a year. None of those things are reported upon. Hunter Biden's laptop in the last stages of the election. Totally ignored by the legacy media. Veritas talked about it. I talked about it. Independent commentators did. Why do you think Twitter is engaging in new purges and YouTube is about to change its TOS too? It's to stop people like us from reporting the truth, because then you have dross like this, dumbassery from the legacy media like this, outright propaganda like this from MSNBC, NBC News, ABC, etc., CNN, The Atlantic, Vox, Salon. A gargantuan conglomerate, an amalgamation of different corporations which don't serve any public interest. They barely function as a press at this point, and they certainly don't engage in even-handed journalism. It would even be reticent at this point to label them yellow journalists and muckrakers. That's how bad they have become. Watching MSNBC, though, essentially admit, this is a tacit admission, they don't expect the probe to go anywhere. They don't expect Trump to be charged. Again, he won't. They don't expect him to face repercussions because, you can't face repercussions if you've done nothing wrong. Well, you can. Generally not if you're a former president with billions of dollars. You have a little bit more latitude than the average Joe out there. Trump did nothing wrong. He broke no law. There was no insurrection at all on January 6th. There was no attempted insurrection. Most of the people that entered the Capitol basically took selfies. If this is the Trump insurrection, the Trump revolution, we're going to take over the United States government, it wasn't with his blessing. It wasn't even with his approval, let alone his command. MSNBC knows this, so they're prepping their fans for the probe to end without any evidence that Trump did anything wrong. This is an admission of their expectation, and it's goddamn hilarious. But MSNBC is so dumb. I guess the people there are so stupid, they don't even realize that this is taking an L. Again, even their lawyers waited for weeks and weeks to tell them, apparently, this is the supposed inside scoop, hey, you may want to lay off the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff because you're digging yourself into a legal hole. But they've got a lot of money, not just from George Soros, so they don't really care if they have to shell out a few $1 million. It doesn't matter. They can make that in a single day by pushing clickbait propaganda, just like this is. That's about all. Peace out.